What's happening? You tapped in with Justin Love. And once again, I tell you every time I'm going to tell you one more again. My friends are way cooler than yours. For example, I have the incomparable Taj Paxton. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Justin?
Man, it's a beautiful day when I get the text that, hey, you can interview one of the best producers, directors of our time. And so I'm really, and I don't say that to sound cute, like I love your work. I'm very appreciative of what you are doing specifically in the indie film scene. I feel that that scene is neglected at times. I feel that it's getting more and more attention as it should have had in time past due to the different ways that media is being consumed these days without, say, the machine per se. Um, so I'm really, I'm thankful for our time today and I'm glad you're here.
I thank you for that. You never know where the wind at your back is going to come from, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that because it is working in an independent framework is it can be challenging and it has its
Yeah.
ups and its downs, and it definitely has its rewards too. So thank you for noticing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Taj, every time I meet someone new, I want to get to know. We're going to talk about your work, obviously, and that's why we're here. But I want to get to know you as a person. So, what I do is I reach out to the people that rock with me, and I tell them who I'm going to be talking to, and I say, hey, I need you to have a question for whoever I'm speaking with. So I call the segment "Raise Your Hand." I said, raise your hand if you have a question for Taj Paxton, and it has to be nothing related to film, nothing related to what you've done work on. This is just everyday life stuff. People just
Um,
want your insight, your advice on their life, right? So
Okay.
for example, this one's from Kelsey. She says, "Our neighbor keeps using our trash can and won't go buy their own. How do I get them to stop using our trash can and go buy their own?"
I have not had that experience.
Nor had I.
Kelsey. But we live in a city where people will dump their trash in your trash can.
Hmm.
And I don't, maybe you stand outside a little while at trash day and see if you can't say hello to the person and
I
just
like it.
greet them that way and say, hey, I noticed that maybe you don't have a trash can. Do you know how
Hmm.
to get one?
Mm.
Because I
Maybe
can
that's
tell you
it.
where to get it. And then we can
Yeah.
keep our trashes to ourselves.
Yeah. Keyword. So I asked her a little bit more context about this, right? So it is kind of what you're saying. So the person uses their trash can, and because they don't buy the service, the trash service themselves, they fill up their trash can. So they don't have enough space. You know how you're limited on space within that one trash can? They're limited on space because their neighbor keeps throwing his stuff in their trash can. So it's really weird.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
okay, got it. So it's a paid trash service that neighbor two is not paying for and is using neighbor one's trash can, and neighbor one
Yep.
is paying.
Right.
So, yeah, maybe they just ask them if they want to contribute. And then if they
Yeah.
contribute, great. And then if they don't, they can tuck their trash can somewhere else where the person can't access it.
Oh, that's a
That
good idea.
might be a good way to do that.
I like that. Yeah. Put it
Yeah.
somewhere where it's, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good, I like that. Well done.
Yeah, or they might put a sign on it that says, go get a sign and laminate it and says private property or this trash can belongs
Mm,
to this
yeah.
address and make it
Yeah.
explicit. And then I think when people, God forbid they cross a boundary, if they cross a boundary, then you kind of know you have a disagreeable neighbor
Yeah. We have a
and
different
you
issue
have
at
to
that point.
approach that differently. We're going to assume they're sane until not.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
This one comes from Rodney. He says, "My dad wants me to hook him up, wait for it, with my girlfriend's mom. But that
Okay.
makes things
Following.
really weird, especially if my dad and my girlfriend's mom started dating." Your thoughts?
My thoughts are this is way out of my filmmaking league. And I would like to talk about film. And that said, I think that boundaries are one of the things that's governed my life, and it's helped
Uh-huh.
me be able to focus and not have as much mental stress when you just kind
Yep.
of set a line with folks about how you intend to have the vibe around you. So
Hmm.
that might help him. Sounds like dad
I
is
love that.
wild. That
Yeah.
sounds a little bit wild, or maybe he just does not wild. Maybe he just doesn't recognize the boundary. People out here in this life trying to find love, and maybe he thinks that's his last shot at it. But I would encourage him that I'm building something in my dynamic with my girlfriend, and I'd like to
Hmm.
really focus on that and not muddy my water by having her mother dating my father, or even have
Yeah.
her be approached about dating you because it's important to me to get this built first. And should something naturally emerge from all of us hanging out together, then that's two adults doing what they do. But for
Hmm.
him to get in the middle of it while he's navigating his own relationship feels like maybe, focus on the grass that you got to water.
I love it. I love it. Focus on the grass you got to water. I love it. That's perfect. Let's talk about the grass that you're watering. It's WNBA 2024, the year that changed everything. Now on Peacock and Apple TV, correct?
Yes, yes,
I
on
love
Peacock
it.
and Apple.
I
It's
love
double
it. I love
streaming
it.
going on now. Very excited about that.
That's awesome. Um, you know, and Candace Parker, executive producing, very
Oh,
very well done. It's beautiful.
thank you.
I was really excited when I found out about this project, and I'll tell you why. Because I think me, I know I did my research on you. You shared that you're kind of a newbie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're kind of new to the whole sports scene as far as being a deep dive into it. You're more of a casual fan, like
You
I have
got it.
been, and many of us. Um, the WNBA, in my opinion, has never gotten the credit that it deserves. Um, and I think that, and I'll just ask you, why do you think that is? Why do you think that we see the NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA? Um, let's just be blunt. We see the men's sports, but the women that are in this same arena don't, I feel, don't have never gotten the same recognition. Why do you think that is?
I think that women in general don't get the same recognition. I think
Okay.
that the answer is it lies in how we look at women. We look
Mm.
at them as
Hmm.
second. I don't know if you're a movie buff, Justin. Are you a movie
I
buff?
am. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen the movie Casablanca, the old
Oh
school movie
yeah.
with Humphrey
Oh yeah.
Bogart and
Frankly,
Ingrid?
my dear. Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Exactly. Wait, no,
Yeah.
that's what you just quoted
Oh
is Gone
wait.
with the Wind.
No, I was going with the wind. Yeah, yeah. But that's Humphrey Bogart. It's Casablanca.
Casablanca is the one where they're in this little town in Morocco and they've
Hmm.
come back and they have to find the letters of transit to get out. It's set in World War II, you don't have to see the movie to make the point if you know who Humphrey Bogart is.
I
But
do.
um, this little fact illustrates it to me in terms of media and how we represent things.
Okay.
Ingrid Bergman was something like 5'9", and Humphrey
Hmm.
Bogart was shorter than her. And in every scene,
Wow, I didn't know
he's
that.
he's wearing lifts or he's standing on what we call an apple box, which is like a cardboard box that's used for camera equipment.
Okay.
And when I learned that fact, I thought this is one of those things that people don't even know that we've manufactured this idea of
Hmm.
men being taller, thus equals dominant and smarter and da da da.
Yeah.
Those are just all the kind of little subtle ways we reinforce these ideas.
Hmm.
And I feel like it doesn't, I know I went all the way around, but it's kind of the same in life. Like um, we have a hard time seeing men and women as equal and of equal value.
Hmm.
And uh, the internet says that Ingrid Bergman is 5'9" and Humphrey Bogart was 5'8". So in the movie, she looks up to him,
Right.
when they're talking. And it's like,
Right.
what is that about? What is that about? Like,
Mm.
why do we have to construct a scene where
Wow.
she
Interesting.
looks up to him
Yeah.
and then he looks down to her? What are we saying when we
Hmm.
do that?
Hmm.
And I think the same
Wow.
is true. So then you just take that from film and life and sports, and it's all the same. So there's
Hmm.
somebody who said it, I can't remember at the moment, but like that sports is a metaphor for life. So if in life we're not regarding women then in sports we're not either, and to a large part. But I think that's changing, and I think that's what the film is ideally hoping to relay to people, that kind of like what you just said. Hey, you're not paying attention, and it would be great if you would, because
Mm,
there's great basketball being played, and
mm-hmm,
inside of that great basketball being played, here's this 170 women who are excellent at this game and play it at the top level in this country, and in the world, and pay attention. And if you like
mm-hmm,
sports, if you love competition, you'll get all you need right here in this game.
mm,
That's kind
absolutely.
of one of the points the film is trying to make. Like, it's
Mm-hmm,
just great basketball. Let's start there.
mm-hmm,
And I'm the person who, like you were saying, I don't go all in on sports all the time, or um, watching every game, but I love competition, and I
yeah.
watch sports docs. That's how I started paying attention to
Mm-hmm,
docs, was literally watching 30 for 30 in
okay.
hotel rooms when I would travel as an exec, and you're up late, you just need to wind down. And
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
throw it on. You turn on back then when they had the TV on naturally, and yeah, linear channels, and they would just throw on ESPN. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
Right.
yo, what is this? And I just started watching 30 for 30, and I fell in love with it. And I fell in love with the
Mm,
storytelling, because I thought, I don't even have to know this sport to dig in.
mm.
So when I watched the two Pablos, and
Interesting.
it's about soccer juxtaposed with this atmosphere in Colombia, I'm all in on both.
Mm-hmm,
On Pablo Escobar, the soccer player's journey, and Pablo Escobar, the drug kingpin's journey. Like,
mm-hmm,
I'm just really in. And that's, in making this movie and in any future movies about sports, that's what I want to do. I just want to make a movie that you go, I'm in on who they're talking about and the
mm,
moment. I don't have to love the sport. It's good if you do, but I don't have to.
mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And it really aligns with something I wanted to share with you. My wife and I have been together for be 5 years this fall. And my wife is from Trinidad.
Oh, okay.
And she when I first met her, I remember that she would, when we would have conversation, or when we would be notably among in public, she would speak louder, right? Her just the volume of her voice, she would intentionally speak louder. And I remember when she and I first met, I asked her, I said, why is it that you speak louder in public than you do, when it's just the two of us? And she
Oh,
said that her mom always taught her, her mom being from Trinidad, um, her mom always told her that we need to speak up in order to be heard as women. And I said to her, and this is just, I'd never heard that before. So, and I literally said to her, I said, babe, you don't need to speak any louder. I can hear you just fine. And ever, ever since that conversation, she's always told me she's remembered that because no one ever said to her, hey, I'm listening to you. I'm paying attention. I hear you. And I also, aside from my media business, I'm in real estate as well, right? I'm a realtor, and just the other day I had a conversation. I was in one of our meetings, and gentlemen, we were talking about different leads that we get, right? And gentleman who is, I think he, if I remember correctly, he's Hispanic, and he had gotten a lead, and he sent them their he sends his information to them with his picture, and he says that they don't engage with him, and he thinks it's because he's not Caucasian. And he said it to a white lady in our group, and she said, "Well, I say the same thing because I'm a woman." And me being a Caucasian man, I don't know any of that, to be perfectly honest with you, Taj. I know that from, like, I've been in the urban music scene for a long time. And, if I hear one more Eminem Vanilla Ice joke, I'm a freaking scream. But you know what I mean? So I experience it from a different perspective. But I'm saying all that to say I love what you're doing because it's something, it's a challenge that great people in our society have that we're not mindful of. We don't know about. And I honestly never understood, probably because I've never experienced it, the challenges that women, and notably women of color, go through when trying to when trying to do whatever they're doing, whether it's my wife in the financial world, whether it's a Candace Parker on the basketball court, like you said, it's great. The product is great, but for some reason, there's always been an issue with getting eyes on the product, and so that's why I really applaud this project and what you're doing. Um, when you look at the WNBA and you look at the history, what is it to you that stands out as far as the origin story compared to say just the NBA, Dr. Naismith and the Peach Basket and that kind of a thing. What stands out to you as what's different between the WNBA's origin and say NFL or something like that?
Well, I want to acknowledge what you said first,
Yeah,
and just kind of ask as like a follow up. When you
yeah.
think about, how you are using this platform to
Mm-hmm.
share a story like this and allow people to be introduced. Some of your audience might be introduced to women, Black women playing basketball and competing at this level, or
Mm-hmm.
any of the other topics that you talk about.
Yeah.
What's driving you to be sure that's covered?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. It was one thing for me to see it from an outside perspective, if you will. It's a different, it's a completely different experience when it's now part of my family. Um, Now that, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, Taj, I've always, my sister makes fun of me for this. I've always thought black girls were cute. I just, white girls, they're okay, but I just like black girls, just being honest with you. And so she
Nothing
always
wrong
made,
with black girls. They're cute.
hey,
Yeah, they're beautiful.
absolutely, she always made fun of me for that. And then I decided, hey, this is the woman of my dreams, and I brought her, and now we're a family. And it's a different priority, I guess, if you
Hmm.
will, because it's now part of my family. And this guy you see on the back wall makes it part of my
Yes.
family because this is half of her, half of me,
Our young
100% him.
Picasso.
Absolutely right. So just the fact that, and even if we never had children, it would still be something. But this takes it to another level for me because this is my blood, this is her blood, and that's the one blood that we have.
Yeah.
So that's why it's
Okay,
it's
so
a yeah,
I could say it's personal.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
I think that makes a big difference in the world is when,
Mm,
if we can see everything that's happening to another person as
mm-hmm,
personal
mm-hmm,
without it having to affect us directly. My personal feeling is
mm,
that revolutionizes the whole
okay,
world. If we
okay,
can look at what's going on and say, oh, that must be painful for that person, or that must be victorious for that person. Whatever it
mm,
is, but you look at people as family, even when
yeah,
they're connected by blood or not. There's a human
yeah,
dynamic going on.
mm-hmm,
So the all the experiences are shared. We're all kind of having a shared human experience.
mm-hmm,
And I'm glad that this has reached your doorstep in a way
mm-hmm,
and in your home. And at the same time, we want a world where it doesn't have to in order for it to matter as much. You
sure,
know,
yeah,
um, that's certainly what I have come to see as a documentary filmmaker. That's the one joy
mm-hmm,
about being in this lane is you're always having to look into people's lives and figure out what about your life is the same as everybody else's life so I can tell this story. And where do we find commonality in human existence, in origin
mm-hmm,
stories, in family, and goals, and challenges, and obstacles, victories? Where do we find it? And that's the fun part about being a documentary filmmaker. So,
mm,
in looking at how this league, started, the question you asked me, and
mm-hmm,
what that meant, my understanding is this 1997 start was kind of the one that actually launched, but there were some more failures to launch in terms of women's basketball by organizations before this.
Yeah.
So this launch in 1997 was again like a confluence of factors. The Olympics, the women in 1996 having won the game, NBA saying there's an opportunity here. You had women coming out of college basketball. By 96, you've already got almost 20 years of Title IX, which had given women more access to sports when they're younger. So then by the time they're
Hmm.
coming out of college, you built up this pipeline. And so I think all that was going into it, the start of this league. And that's why when we fast forward 30 years from the start almost to this film in 2024, you're taking a look at what that how that has built over these last 27 years to that 2024
Mm.
season. It's like this tipping point of all these years of great basketball, the women surviving so much, so many ups and downs, media blackouts,
Yeah.
underpaid, losing
Yeah.
stadiums, lack of benefits, all kinds of just general
Mm.
disrespect along the lines of what you're saying, like with your wife
Hmm.
and things,
Hmm.
and that whole idea of having to speak up that she had to do, that her mom taught her to do, all that's
Yeah.
taking place. And they're just still going at it. And then by the time you get social media with NIL and these players getting a lot more media attention,
Hmm.
and then you get a bigger financial investment, I think that begins to make a difference. From what I can see, when you have Mark, I forget his last name, who built the Aces, who invested in that team and heavily invested in and Claire and Josiah, who are in New York, who bought Liberty, the money, when they poured the money in, they just supported these teams and it just started
Hmm.
inspiring, firing off. And now you see billionaire investments around women's basketball because people understand it as a business, but that business drive has only caught up to what was already there culturally.
Mm.
I had somebody bring up the point that like, people been watching the NCAA, women's basketball for years, and then they love
Yeah.
it, and then all of a sudden they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, then what else do I watch? I'm done with I'm done with
Right.
NCAA." So
Right.
now they have it. It's meeting a need, and
Hmm.
specifically for women, this idea of women competing is a next level. I didn't realize how
Yeah.
much I've shown this film to some women, even friends who are like, "Yo, I don't. It's weird to watch them all muscular and
Hmm.
going up against each other." And I was like, oh,
Hmm.
"Okay, so even you as a woman feel that you've got to live in. Women should live inside of a role that says, don't be physical, don't have muscles, don't compete,
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
make baskets, and then go, oh." Which is
Hmm.
like Asia Wilson's signature move. It's like, or Chelsea Gray when they go, ah,
Yeah.
they don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, oh, well, then we've tapped into something totally liberating. Because the whole point
Absolutely.
of independence is to be free to be the kind of woman you want to be. So
Hmm.
if you want to be the kind of woman that does not grow muscles and does not compete, have at it. And then
Hmm.
let the woman who wants to grow her muscles and compete have at it too.
Absolutely.
That's how I see
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. I think that that was also an unspoken, unaddressed issue for a long time with women's sports is that, um, I in my personal experience and different men that I've talked to, and we talk about sports, we talk about this, talk about that. uh, the women competing in a more of a fierce competition was never taken seriously, to be perfectly honest with you. And I hate this. I'm going to sound horrible. Hopefully, I don't sound horrible when I say this, but just being perfectly blunt and honest with you, most men accepted a woman to be, say, a cheerleader, but didn't accept her to be part of the game,
An
part of,
athlete.
an athlete. The women that have recently become referees in college football and NFL. I think that's amazing. I think that's beautiful. I think that's a step in the right direction. Um, and it just really speaks to, I think, the whole, like you said, what we're tapping into as a society and as a people, um, to give women more options, more versatility. You just said it so many times. We see, like I lived in Knoxville when the Lady Vols were really
Mhm.
balling, and that was the question: was after they graduate, now what? Because there were some ballers on those teams that were better than the men. But
Right.
what do they do after college? You
Yeah.
know? And man, that thought was always in my mind. Like, what do they do? Because the WNBA was clearly, from my perspective, not gonna pay the bills for them. So they need something that's gonna pay the bills.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this whole thing, man. I really do. And thank you for taking that trip down with me in my personal life and wifey and that whole piece.
Yeah, I can see that it means something to you. I get
It
that.
does. It
I
really
totally get
does.
that. Yeah, and I mean, I think your investment in it is something that you can continue to spread outward into your circle. And
Mm-hmm.
as people
Mm-hmm.
exist in the world, take a moment and look around and see like who's invited into this space that I'm in and who's left out of this
Right.
conversation, and what
Yeah.
voices that could be vital in this moment are being silenced or just not even here. And I think that's an
Yeah.
important thing to think about. And you were talking about the women's competition. I was thinking about the old Bobby Riggs, Billie Jean King, tennis tournament
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
legend
Battle of the
now.
sexes. Yeah.
But it's amazing that it happened in our lifetime. That here you have
Right.
this male tennis great who's like, yeah, they shouldn't play. They should just stay at home. And Billie Jean King really puts it on her back, and she's like, I'll play you. And I
Yeah.
just, when I'm a kid who heard about that story, no, I'm not a kid. I think I see a news piece on it. I'm like maybe in my 20s, and I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
even realize that was real. I was like, that really happened. Like he said that
Mm-hmm.
to the whole world
Mm-hmm.
that women should not be competing. Because I've grown up in a world where women play tennis. I grew up watching Althea Gibson, and
Mm.
then when the Williams sisters come along, or
Yeah.
um, um, Martina Navratilova. You had all this women's
Right.
tennis, and it just felt normal. I had no idea that somebody had to really convince the rest of the world that this is okay for women to do. And I
Yeah.
think we're still in that journey,
I
with
agree.
women's basketball. I think the hurdle is media coverage and media
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
visibility. Clearly, they're making lots of strides with pay. But I think the coverage now is not just where to find the games to watch them play, but how
Mm-hmm.
are the games being talked about? How are the athletes being talked about? So
Hmm.
that the stories being told, is it about their athleticism and their training and what they put into the game, or is it
Mm-hmm.
about who's dating who, and who was
Right.
aggressive today, and who's more aggressive than the other one who's aggressive, and these things that to me seem very coded around basically behavior that you don't expect from women athletes.
Yeah. Right.
So I mean, it's important to have people like you in media spaces, podcasts, old school, sites and journalism sites that would really dig in into how you're talking about players when you write about them. How are you talking about the
Mm-hmm.
sport itself?
Yeah. No, I love that. It's one thing to discuss the product on the field. It's a completely different conversation when we talk about the surrounding of that. So yeah, 100% agree. So
Yeah,
it's
for sure. And I'm curious to see, in this lane, this is one of many documentaries about the WNBA. On YouTube,
mm-hmm.
you can find one about the
Mm-hmm.
1997 launch, and there's one on Don Staley that's on Tubi. Candace Parker has her own. There's a doc about the Liberty franchise and how it was purchased and turned around by Claire and Joe Wusai in 2022 or 21, whatever
Nice.
the year. But there's just so much, right? And so it's like, just dig in. And I think we tried to capture this particular moment in time and help folks draw the dots, connect the dots between what made it so special.
Mm,
And what people have said when they watch it is it feels like reliving that 2024 season and how electric it was. It was a
mm,
nail biter group of semifinals. It took it to the Liberty and the Lynx in the finals, and it was just nail biter series. And
mm-hmm.
people loved watching that. I won't spoil it for the people who didn't remember or didn't watch when it was in the actual season. But it's just great basketball in the film. It's great competition. It's great allegory for how these women are heroic for what they stand up for on the court and off the court.
Hmm.
And I welcome people to give it a chance. And if you're not into basketball, women's basketball, give that a chance. And then if you are, give the film a watch and enjoy it while we're right now in the run of the 2026 season, even. It just
Yeah.
goes along nicely with it. So when you get
Yeah.
down with your WNBA on Peacock, or your, I guess we're almost done watching the NBA on Peacock, huh? We'll be done in a couple
Just
of weeks.
about. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when you're watching, just give this a film a try, and and hit me up at Taj Paxton and say you nailed it or you failed it. Like, I'm okay either way.
You nailed
I
it or
feel
you
like
failed
I'm
it.
I'm a humble
I
humble
love it.
servant of the
Yeah.
basketball genre. So if I nailed it, let me know, and if I failed it, let me know.
Oh, well done. I love it. Hey, tell me something about Candace Parker that we don't know. And don't give me the whole, oh, she's a hard worker. Everybody says that. No, tell me something we don't know about her.
I'll tell you something that I found
Okay.
sitting with her.
Hmm.
You're not tapping into her mind, man. This woman is
Mm.
brilliant.
Yeah,
She's brilliant. When you sit across from her, you
I
can
can see
really
it.
see this. She's working on so many levels, and that's what I saw. There is a doc about her already. This
Hmm.
next chapter of her life, where she's
Hmm.
analyst, business owner, entrepreneur, there might be a whole nother moment to talk to her. And
Okay.
I welcome
Okay.
it. But I found her
Love
really
it.
brilliant to talk with. Basketball knowledge, cultural knowledge, business knowledge, and the recall of her
Mm.
brain was stunning. We could have
Mm.
had our research team say, oh, game 4, the finals, blah, 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 blah. This is 2024, mind you, and we're interviewing her in 2025. And she'll say, I don't think that person had that many rebounds. I think it was more like 8.
Oh.
And, and,
Oh.
and you're thinking, you're not playing, that player is not even on the Aces.
Yeah.
But like, that information. That's what I mean. That's the kind of
That's wild. Wow.
beautiful mind she's working with.
I love that. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, it's the WNBA 2024, the year that changed everything. It's on Peacock, it's on Apple TV, and the amazing Taj Paxton is with us. Taj, before I let you go, one thing that I always endeavor to do when I'm on the radio, when I'm on streaming, whatever I'm doing, my goal in life is to leave this place, whatever this place is, better than how I found it. And I want to give you something to take with you to make your life better. I give that to my audience every day. I call it my love note. If you had to give a love note, Taj, what would your love note be to someone?
Oh, I thought I was getting the love note. I thought I was
Oh,
getting the love note. I got so excited. I was like,
no.
yes, pour into
I'll tell you
me.
what. I'll tell you what. I'll give you one. You give me yours. How about that, man?
Okay, fair.
Okay. All right. You ladies first.
Ooh, smooth. Very
Queen Latifah
smooth.
and Moni Love. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. Even though I could just flip it and say we about some equality. You can go first, but I'll just the love note I leave is that it's something I've had to embrace as I began a directing career after a 20-year producing career. This is a new lane, so
Mm,
you got a beginner's mind in this new lane. And
hmm.
this is a quote that I live by. It says, "It's not the mountain we conquer, but it's ourselves."
Mm. It's not the mountain we conquer, it's ourselves.
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is never bring a snow shovel to the beach. Life is all about seasons.
Nice. I like
There it
that.
is. There it is.
I feel poured into. Life is about
Yes.
seasons.
Yes. There you go.
Yes.
Perfect. Taj, give us those social media platforms, digital. How do we tap in with you?
Oh, sure. I'm Taj Paxton on IG and on Threads. And those are kind of the only two I really rock with.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I keep my Facebook private and I don't fool with that other one.
I ain't mad at you. All right.